Have you ever been in charge of a project where, everything was on the line? Well, today we're going to dive into a real masterclass in leadership from way back in ancient history. It's a story about this guy named Ezra who had to move thousands of people and a priceless treasure across a dangerous desert, and he made a decision that honestly put everyone at risk. Let's get into it.
All right, so picture this. We're in the Persian Empire. It's 458 BC, and the king, Artaxerxes, has just given the green light for Jewish exiles to go back home to Jerusalem. But this is way more than just handing out tickets home. We're talking about a massive, organized, and royally approved expedition.
And the scale of this thing, it's just huge. Imagine trying to move a whole community, men, women, children, everybody across 900 miles of dangerous territory. We're talking bandits, rough terrain, the whole deal. This is going to take a leader with some serious organizational skills and a whole lot of nerve.
Which brings us to the big question, right? Ezra has a plan, but here's the kicker. No soldiers. Not one. So this whole trip, this whole journey is going to be the ultimate test of his leadership and of his faith.
Okay, so first things first, you got to get everyone together. The meeting spot is a place called the Ahava Canal. You can think of it as the launch pad for this whole historic journey. And it's right here that Ezra's going to take a good hard look at who actually showed up.
The initial head count is, whoa, we're talking about 1,750 men who signed up. And remember, that's just the men. You add in all their families, the women and children, and you've basically got a small city on the move. The logistics were a total nightmare, and they hadn't even taken a single step yet.
And listen, this was not just a random crowd. In this group, you had priests, you had royalty. We're talking direct descendants of King David, and the heads of more than 15 major families. These were the movers and shakers, the VIPs who were supposed to go back and rebuild their entire community.
So, everyone's there, the numbers look good, it seems like they're ready to roll. But then Ezra does a final review of the group and his heart just sinks. He realizes he has a huge problem. A mission-critical piece of the puzzle is completely missing. For 3 whole days, they're just camped out, and Ezra is poring over the list of who's there. He's not just counting heads, he's looking at who can do what. And that's when he spots it, a massive, critical flaw in the plan, right before they're supposed to leave.
The problem? There were no Levites. Not a single one. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what? Well, think of it like this. The priests were the surgeons, the specialists. But the Levites, they were the entire hospital staff. The technicians, the people who ran the place, even the musicians. They were absolutely essential for the temple, which was the whole point of this journey. Without them, the mission was basically incomplete. And this right here is where we see what kind of leader Ezra really is. He doesn't panic, he acts. Immediately he puts together a team of 11 of his top people, sends them on a targeted recruiting mission, and gives them a very clear message. We need people to serve God's house. Go get them. And the result? Oh, it worked. Big time. His team comes back, and they didn't just get bodies, they got talent. They recruited 2 top-notch leaders, Sherebiah and Hashabiah, who brought their families, plus another 220 temple servants. Problem solved, crisis averted, all because he acted fast and strategically.
Okay, so the people problem is fixed, but now Ezra's facing an even bigger challenge. How in the world do you protect thousands of people and a mountain of treasure on a 4-month journey through dangerous country?
He basically had 2 choices. Path number 1, the easy way out. Just go ask King Artaxerxes for an army escort. Simple. But then there was path number 2, the path of faith. And see, Ezra had already made a pretty bold statement to the most powerful guy in the world.
And his own words here, they tell you everything you need to know. He says he was ashamed to ask for soldiers because he'd already told the king that his God would protect them. For Ezra, this wasn't just about belief, it was about integrity. He had to walk the walk, even if it meant taking this massive, massive risk.
So instead of an army, Ezra calls for something completely different, a fast. He asks the entire community to stop and pray, to ask God directly to protect them, their kids, and everything they owned. That was his security plan.
And believe me, they needed that protection. Because this wasn't just a group of people moving. No, they were hauling in an incredible amount of wealth. Donations from the king, from other exiles, all of it meant for the temple in Jerusalem.
Let's just try to get a sense of the value here. The first thing on the list is 650 talents of silver. A single talent was a huge unit of weight. So we are talking about more than 24 times tons of silver. You'd need a fleet of armored trucks for that today.
And get this, on top of that, there were another 100 talents of gold, not to mention solid gold bowls and other articles that were just as precious. This was basically a giant, slow-moving bank vault, making them a huge target for any bandits on the road.
So how did Ezra protect all this without a single soldier? He used a principle that any modern manager would recognize: accountability. He picked 12 of the leading priests, weighed out every single item right in front of them, and gave them one simple command: guard them carefully. This created a perfect chain of custody. Specific people were responsible, and the final check would be a public weigh-in once they got to Jerusalem. It was a brilliant system.
So, with the team assembled, the unique security plan in place, and the treasure all accounted for, the massive caravan finally sets out. The 4-month test of leadership and faith officially begins.
So how did it all go? Well, the journey was a complete success. The record says they were protected from enemies and bandits the entire way. They get to Jerusalem, they rest for 3 days, and then comes the moment of truth. On the 4th day, the treasure is brought to the temple, and every single piece is weighed out in public. The result? Perfect. Everything was accounted for, down to the last ounce.
I mean, think about it. Every single one of Ezra's big leadership decisions was validated. His quick recruiting solved the personnel crisis. His risky decision to rely on faith instead of force, it paid off. And his meticulous system of accountability, it ensured every piece of treasure arrived safely. The mission was a complete and total success.
So in the end, Ezra's story leaves us with a really fascinating question about leadership. What's truly more powerful for getting things done? The tangible might of an army, or the intangible conviction of a leader who's willing to stake everything on their principles?